And welcome back to Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte. And before we get underway, let's go down to the field and Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Dick. After a 1-3 start, Jeff Fisher called a team meeting, got everybody together in the middle of it, said, "I'll be back," and abruptly left. And one player told me it was a very long and awkward 5 minutes. When Jeff returned, he brought with him a cooler of beer and the remaining schedule. Said, "Great news, guys. I talked to the league. They said throw out the first 4 games. It is now officially a 12-game season." He then toasted with a beer and said, "Here's to a fresh start, a fresh year." The player told me the room went absolutely crazy, saying, "I've never seen anything like it." Since then, the Rams have reeled off 2 straight wins. They're hoping 3 hours from now to toast number 3. Dick?
Well, Laura and Brian, it would have been great if the league had, disregarded those first 4 games.
I got out of the league too early. There's a number of years I'd love to have gone back and got that routine.
Ron Rivera and 7-11 at home under the head coach, which is not what you want. 1-1 this year. And Jeff Fisher leading the way for the Rams, and Cam Newton. It's been a familiar scene with the towel over his head on the sideline and in warm-ups. And of course, one of the outstanding defensive linemen, Chris Long. The Panthers have won the toss and they will defer. Tavon Austin is going to return kicks as Benny Cunningham is out of action today. And of course, most of the kicks, especially from Graham Gano, sail out of the end zone. So we'll see what happens here. And as you pointed out earlier, this is the Sun Field that the stadium is set up, which could affect the returners.
It is. It faces east-west, so that sun comes up over the stadium directly in the eyes. I don't know that we'll see it here on a kickoff return, but we got to watch that on punt returns.
And this kick is not going to sail out. It'll be returned by Austin, the rookie from West Virginia. And Austin brings it out beyond the 20-yard line, where Melvin White makes the tackle. And tempers flare already inside the 20-yard line. But here is Sam Bradford, who's looking for his second 3-game winning streak of his career. And so Bradford leading the way for the Rams. And, of course, a lot of questions concerning him. Bradford only 16 attempts last week against Houston, but had 3 touchdown passes. So first down from the 22. Play action on first down, and the ball downfield, and it's going to be intercepted at the 45 by Captain Munnerlyn. And Munnerlyn still on his feet, and Munnerlyn is in for the touchdown. What a start.
Uncharacteristic all-out pressure by the Carolina Panthers. You're going to see at the linebacker level them coming with a 5, 6, 7-man rush. We talked about coming up with big plays for either of these teams. St. Louis took a shot early and it went woefully wrong with a turnover. I think the ball looked like, or his arm might have been tipped a little bit, because that thing came out like a wounded duck.
I believe you're right. Quentin Michael got a piece of that, and Bradford, who came into the game with only 3 interceptions on the season, throws a pick on the first play from scrimmage, and it's returned 45 yards by Munnerlyn. And the Panther crowd is agog. And Graham Gano on for the extra point. They haven't even gotten comfortable yet in their seats, and the Panthers have taken a 7-0 lead. Captain Munnerlyn, the veteran cornerback, with his first interception of the year.
Dick, I applaud St. Louis trying to, on the road, make something happen. Here you can see with the all-22, the pressure they're going to bring. And I want you to watch what they're trying to do. A play fake, and then down the field, it's just a 2-man route. But the ball being tipped, you can clearly see the thing came out. That was not where it was intended to go. And watch him just walking down that sideline. This is going to be reviewed, or should have been reviewed, but obviously it looks like he stayed in bounds there and tiptoed his way down the sideline for the score. All plays, obviously, all scoring plays reviewed from above without a challenge. tight-roped it right down into the end zone. And boy, if you're Carolina, a team desperately looking to get momentum, how great is that to get a turnover by your defense on the first play and setting the tempo and getting this crowd that isn't normally a very loud or raucous crowd, getting them into it early.
And of course, needing to win at home, that's what they haven't been able to do. As once again, Austin goes back deep, and Munnerlyn did a great job on the sideline run into the end zone. Seems like it was only a minute or so ago that Gano was kicking off to start the game. Right. And this kick will sail out of the end zone, a touchback. And so the Rams will start from the 20-yard line, trailing 7-0. And Brian, what about the impact players?
Well, we've already seen an impact so far, but obviously for St. Louis, picking up Jake Long in free agency was huge. Zach Stacy, someone you want to watch in particular, Dick, because they've changed the running style compared to what they wanted to do early in the year. They've now gone to Zach Stacy, which is more as a physical, two-tight-end downhill running game.
Tavon Austin remains in the game as a wide receiver, and a fake in the route and a handoff to Stacy up the middle, and he picks up one, with Latulele making the tackle. Let's look at the impact players for Carolina on the defensive side.
Well, we talked about their front seven beginning on the outside with Greg Hardy and Charles Johnson, Luke Kuechly in behind. Mike Mitchell coming off a huge game in a secondary that has had to adapt to a lot of injuries over the last few weeks. 2 interceptions last week and a sack last week against the Minnesota Vikings.
By the way, this is the first outdoor game the Rams have played all year. And on 2nd and 9, play action again, and the pass is complete to Corey Harkey, who starts at tight end for the 2nd straight week and had a touchdown pass, his first of his NFL career, and he gets 8 yards.
Dick, Tavon Austin was the #1 overall pick for St. Louis, the 8th pick in the draft. Very dynamic player. So they envisioned coming out and being a 3 wides, 4 wides, wide open offense. Did not go well early in the season. So they've gotten back into, as I alluded to, Zach Stacy, who's more of a counter, downhill, ISO type of runner. And this is what has been successful for him the last 2 weeks.
So they've gone to more 2 tight ends. They have a 3rd down and 1. And here's Bradford, and the pass is dropped, incomplete. Brian Quick was the intended receiver. He would have had a first down by about 7 yards. Coverage by Melvin White, but Quick just dropped the ball.
And this has been a problem for St. Louis, particularly in critical areas. I mean, this should have been a conversion for a 3rd down. Brian Quick is a big receiver. He's 6'3", in great position on the DB. That's just a flat drop.
4th down, and Johnny Hecker, one of the better punters in the league, will kick from the 15. And Ted Ginn Jr. back for the Panthers. And here's Ted Ginn, trapped, and down he goes, giving up yardage from where he caught the ball and tackled at the 25. So Cam Newton comes onto the field for the first time when we return to Bank of America Stadium. Well, the Panthers going on offense for the first time, and Cam Newton coming off his best performance of the year. 3 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing, and no interceptions. Starting from the 26.
Ready.
D'Angelo Williams off the left side. Let's take a look at the Panthers' impact performers on the attack.
Panthers are running the ball extremely well, and you can look at their 2-headed monster, so to speak, of D'Angelo Williams and Mike Tolbert. Big physical backs. And Brandon LaFell has emerged as a counterbalance to Steve Smith in terms of the passing game.
Yeah, he's become the big play guy for this team. Steve Smith mostly underneath, and LaFell with a career best 170 yards receiving last week, 107 and 4 catches. 2nd down and 11 after the 1-yard loss. And this time Newton is going to throw it in the air. He's big enough to get away from trouble, but not big enough to get away from Robert Quinn, who has his 7th sack of the year, leading the NFC and 6th in the league.
Well, this athletic defensive line here, you can see Robert Quinn staying alive. Chris Long getting held just a little bit there on the edge. But the athleticism and the size of this defensive line of the St. Louis Rams is what Jeff Fisher is counting on their ability not only to get pressure on Cam Newton, but to bring him down, because he is a tough big man to bring down.
Yeah, great defensive ends on this team, and now it'll be 3rd down and 22. So 2 plays from scrimmage and 2 losses for the Panthers. And this pass is caught by Steve Smith underneath, and not even close to getting enough yards. It'll be more than 10 yards away, and Darian Stewart making the play. Stewart replacing the injured T.J. McDonald at strong safety, and a gain of 9, and that'll bring up 4th down. So Tavon Austin will go back deep, and Brad Nortman will do the kicking for Carolina.
And again, bring up the fact that the sun on the punts now more than the kickoffs can be a factor we've got to watch for. Tavon Austin's going to have to block out that sun, because that's clearly in his face as he goes to get underneath this punt.
Running up is Austin, and all of a sudden he lets it bounce, and very fortunate that it didn't bounce off of him and stay in play. It is still going to be Rams ball, but very risky indeed for the rookie. Timeout, and the Rams go back on the attack. Well, Sam Bradford does not throw many interceptions. That's the good news. The bad news is that 3 have resulted in a pick 6, including Captain Munnerlin's 45-yard return on the first play from scrimmage to account for the Panthers' 7-0 lead. So the Rams have it, 1st down on the 34. There's Zach Stacy, and Stacy finds some running room on the cut, and he gets out to the 40-yard line. You were talking about how the sun affects the punt returners, and it did.
We've already seen it. You can see you're staring right into it. This is going to come into play for at least the first half. They're coaching him up here to make sure you account for it. And this last one to Tavon Austin, he pulled off of it in the last second right there. You can clearly see he lost sight of it. That had danger, or disaster, I should say, written all over it had that fallen into the hands of Carolina.
And here is Stacy. It'll be thrown for the loss by Kawan Short. So Short is going to be in action along with Colin Cole, starting in place of Dwan Edwards, who is inactive for the 4th straight game. Time for a game break. Here's Joe Leclerc.
All right, thank you, Dick. And another defensive touchdown elsewhere in the NFL. Mike Glennon, 3rd start. William Moore, he frees up the ball. Thomas Deku, 30-yard fumble recovery for the touchdown. And Atlanta up 7-0, Dick.
Well, who's going to hang in there? Tampa Bay or Atlanta in that one? 3rd down and 6. Pass is caught, and it's Jared Cook, and he has a 1st down as he gets into Panther territory. So Jared Cook, who's been a reliable receiving tight end, gets 13.
Well, it's Jared Cook right here in front of the quarterback. He starts on the outside. Jared Cook, the veteran on this team that knows where to sit down in the zone. Sam Cook is going to go to him in any critical situation, not only because of his experience, but he's a big receiver at 6'5", easy to find right in front of you when you need him.
Caught 2 last week, but 1 was for 34 yards against the Texans. 1st down, and here's Zach Stacy and Kawan Short, the 2nd-round draft pick out of Purdue, making his 2nd defensive tackle for a loss. This time, a 4-yard loss for the Rams.
Dick, Carolina typically has been kind of passive in the secondary. They have a great deal of confidence in their front 7 to stop the running game, but they're inserting the safeties a great deal more than I would have expected. The Rams, although they've run the ball better the last 2 weeks, have struggled in this area. They're going to be passive in the back end and not give them big play. They're giving Sam Bradford some shots on the outside, one-on-one.
And one of those safeties, Quentin Michael, who knows all about the Rams, played with them last year. 2nd down and 14, swing it out to Zach Stacy. Stacy with a 1st down, and Zach Stacy, who's been a revelation for the Rams, picking up big yardage. 5th-round draft pick out of Vanderbilt gets 25.
Well executed screen here. You can see the lineman getting out in front of it. Nice job by Chris Williams and Scott Wells to get out in front of Zach Stacy. You know, I talked about he's a big, physical, between the tackles type of runner, but they said he's got some niftiness to him. They're willing to throw those screens to the outside to Zach Stacy.
And he showed it there, 5'8", 216. And he gets a breather, and Darrell Richardson, who started the year at running back, now in there. It's a first down on the 28 of Carolina. Play fake again. And the pass up the middle, and it's caught. And it's Brian Quick. And Brian Quick will have a 1st and goal right about the 5-yard line. Bradford, good accuracy, gets 24 here.
I talked about the size of Jared Cook. Well, Brian Quick at 6'3". Also that big receiver in the middle of the field. The quarterback loves that because it gets dicey in the middle of the field, and you got to count on your big receivers with a big sweep spot to come up with the ball.
So it's 1st and goal. Rams 3rd in the league, but all of their touchdowns have been by the pass. And here's the running play to Zach Stacy, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that'll bring up 2nd down and goal. Well, the Panthers have not allowed a point in the 1st quarter in 9 straight games. That's the longest active streak. In fact, they've only allowed 12 points in the 1st half this year, and all field goals.
And having given up a touchdown via the interception, this is just what the doctor ordered for Jeff Fisher and the St. Louis Rams, if indeed they can score here to get back in this game, all but in the 1st quarter on the road in Carolina.
2nd and goal from the 4, and this pass incomplete. They were trying to go to Jared Cook. Captain Munnerlyn right in the way. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
Sean McDermott, the defensive coordinator, of course, all those years under Jim Johnson in Philadelphia. He is a pressure-oriented guy. That's his background. But as I said, because he's got a good front 7 and a secondary that has been oft injured during the course of the season, a little more passive in his play calling, although they're a top 10 defense, a little more aggressive this game than I've seen in previous games.
3 receivers come out to the left, and now in motion is Tavon Austin to the bottom of your picture on 3rd down and goal. And here's Zach Stacy. Zach Stacy fighting his way and appears to be stopped short of the goal line. Zach Stacy picking up 3 yards. And that will bring up 4th and goal from the 1. It was Quentin Michael and Melvin White. 2 safeties on the play.
And they are going for it. And why not? With the adversity that you had early in the game, you're on the road. You've gone the length of the field. The ball is darn near touching the goal line. And Jeff Fisher decides to put his big people in the game and see if he can pull out a score on 4th and less than a yard.
And Brian, that's one thing that Ron Rivera has learned, to go for it on 4th and 1. And Jeff Fisher, that's been his reputation. So here it is, 4th down and goal, and it's going to be a pass situation. Here comes the rush. It's incomplete, and the Panthers hold on 4th and goal. Jared Cook was the intended receiver, and Quentin Michael, the former Ram, a big factor there. And so the Rams had 1st and goal at the 4 and did not score.
Great goal line defense. I want you to watch the linebackers. They totally sell out to stop the run. That puts a lot of pressure on the coverage guys because it's a play fake. They do a great job stacking up and taking away the receivers down the field. Nothing better for a defense than to get a 4-play goal line stand. The good news is we stopped them from scoring. The bad news is offense, you're backed up inside the 1.
And the danger of a safety has to exist with this defensive line. That Cam Newton, don't forget, he adds an extra offensive player with his ability to run with the ball. Mike Tolbert is the running back here. Steve Smith, the only receiver, wide to the left on 1st down from the 1. And here is Tolbert, and Tolbert is knocked into the end zone, and it'll be a safety. So the safety loomed large against this defense by the Rams, and they get to is Eugene Sims, who tackles Tolbert for the safety.
We said these were 2 great front 7s. Penetration on the inside, forcing them just wide enough that obviously it allowed Eugene Sims to keep him in the end zone. The 2 front 7s of these 2 really good defenses now coming into play. in keeping them out of the end zone for the score by way of Carolina Panthers, and rebounding with all but a 2-point safety by the St. Louis Rams.
And the Rams will get the ball as well. It is now 7-2 in favor of the Panthers, so it has been a very wild first quarter, and we still have 5:23 remaining.
And the key with this was the inside penetration. Watch how the interior of the offensive line, you can see right there Ryan Kalel getting pushed all the way back, setting up the safety by the front seven of the St. Louis Rams.
Sims on the left, stopping Tolbert on the right, and a safety putting the Rams on the scoreboard for the first time. And the Rams will get the ball back. And right now, a shout out to our good friend and your producer, Bob Stenner, under the weather, out of action this week. Expect him back next week.
Yeah, we love you, Bob. We miss you. Keep that ice firmly applied because we want you back here next week.
I bet you he's doing just that. All right, here's the free kick. And it's picked up by Tavon Austin. And Austin will bring it out to the 38-yard line. So here comes Sam Bradford, his team trailing by 5 points.
You know, the emotional swings of this game, Dick, and this is what I always love about this game, because this is a game of momentum. It's a game of emotion. Here, St. Louis on the road comes out, throws an awkward interception, leads to a score defensively, gets a 3-and-out, but then marches the length of the field to be denied a score. Now it's the worst possible scenario for St. Louis. They now get a safety. They're back in this football game.
Well, to say it's been a defensive game would be a high understatement here. Zach Stacy trying to go right. Slides off 2 tacklers and gets the first down. And Zach Stacy finally pushed out of bounds by Mike Mitchell. 78 yards 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville. Topped it with 79 against Houston. And he's become the #1 running back.
We talked about how physical, but you've got to tackle. You've got to wrap up in this league. He bounces he starts inside. He bounces outside. They've got him wrapped up, but no, they don't bring him down. Thomas Davis had him wrapped up, had a chance to get him for a minimal gain. That's the kind of physicality that Zach Stacy brings to the running attack for St. Louis.
Darrell Richardson in for Stacy. Fights to get back to the line of scrimmage. Richardson started 3 of the first 4 games and has been relegated as Stacy has come on strong for this team, and the running game has really added a lot of balance to this Rams offense.
It has, and as we said, it changed. When they started out, they were more spread out because of Tavon Austin, Darrell Richardson, and Isaiah Peed, their 2nd-round pick a couple of years ago. They're different types of back. Now that they're down to this downhill running game, this is because of Zach Stacy, of the more physical runner of those 3.
2nd and 10 at the 42 of Carolina. And the quick is out to Austin. Tavon Austin with the speed loses the ball, and Carolina may have it. The Panthers do recover the fumble by Austin, and it was Captain Munnerlyn with the fumble recovery. His 2nd sterling defensive play of the game, and the Panthers get the ball back.
When you say defense wins games, Tavon Austin, this is the type of play they get out to him very quickly. He has got to wrap up the ball. It's the most prized possession you have. Once again, the defense raises up. Mitchell doing a nice job of tackling and stripping at the same time. And Captain Munnerlyn coming up with the ball. This is a defensive-dominated game right now, and it's going to call on the St. Louis Rams defense maybe to get another turnover to stem the tide.
I mean, the Rams went 65 yards on 10 plays, used up nearly 5.5 minutes and didn't score. Bill Vinovich is our referee, and it's going to be Carolina ball at the 37, their own 37. And a turnover by Austin.
Tavon Austin, again, he was the 8th pick of the draft, and he's only averaging at about 6 yards per catch. And they need more of him downfield. They got to get the ball into his hands quickly. That's why you see reverses and these quick screens to the outside. But clearly, you got to hang on to the ball. They need more big plays from him down the field. That's why, as the 8th overall pick, I love Tavon Austin. But compared to the other value you might have gotten, I don't see him as a #1 or 2 receiver in terms of the ability to throw the ball down the field.
First down, and Cam Newton on the fake handoff, and the pass is caught, and it should be a first down to Steve Smith. Steve Smith, who had 5 catches and a touchdown reception against Minnesota last week.
Cam Newton, you can see one of the things that jumps out at you about this offense run by Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, is the different formations, the different style of play. Cam Newton in the pocket, Cam Newton outside the pocket. St. Louis has got to do a better job. You cannot let Cam Newton get outside the perimeter of the front, or he will cut you up like a surgeon.
And first down, and the snap is to D'Angelo Williams, who's about a yard short of the first down. Now time for a game break. Let's check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, thank you, Dick. And we go to New York. Tom Brady's got his favorite target back, Gronkowski. First game back, second catch of the day. Takes it all the way down the 1-yard line. Brandon Bolden takes it in from there. The Patriots tie it up. Coach, Gronkowski is back.
Huge difference for that team. Tom Brady sleeping much easier at night now, knowing that the Gronk is back.
What a win for the Patriots last week against New Orleans, the kind that could spark the team, and their handoff to D'Angelo Williams. And he is knocked back and will lose a yard on the play thanks to Robert Quinn, the Rams defensive end. So it'll be third down and short coming up for the Carolina Panthers, coming off a 35-point scoring effort against the Vikings, their second highest of the year.
Well, I've had them in their 2 highest scoring games, New York and obviously last week against the Vikings. I'm beginning to think it's maybe me. Maybe I'm just a good luck charm.
They may think it's you.
Well, if that's the case, I'll expect a check on Monday. But they have looked very good in their 2 outings where they've run up better than 30 points.
Talk about running. Here is Mike Tolbert running for the first down. And talk about rebuilding.
Well, we talked about this front 7 of the defense for the Rams. You can see it right here. These are all top 35 picks. They're all first rounders except for James Laurinaitis. He's a pretty good one. And they put their assets in the front 7 defensively, and it shows up. They're big, they're athletic, and they've got depth. They've got no problems rolling through William Hayes, Eugene Sims, who we've already seen make a big play, keeping these guys fresh.
Trades have played a big role in this Ram rebuilding deal. First down. And Cam Newton's pass, and it's caught by Brandon LaFell and out of bounds. He was open and goes out of bounds at the 22-yard line, picking up 18.
Brandon LaFell's at the top of the screen, just runs an out route, and boy, Cam Newton can do this now, just throwing it to the outside. The key for Cam Newton, I want you to watch him in the pocket, Dick. When he has time, he's able to keep his mechanics pure, doesn't rush himself. He's as strong an arm and as big an arm quarterback as we'll see in the league. It's when he rushes his fundamentals that the ball tends to go awry.
So Cam Newton now 3 for 3 in the passing department. And here's Cam Newton running for the first time, and down he goes smartly as he gets to the 18, picking up 4 with under a minute remaining in the first.
That's one of the design runs we talked about, Dick. They want Cam Newton to carry the ball between 8 and 9 times a game. And that's not all called runs. They realize he's going to scramble around a little bit. But the difference, that had nothing to do with the read option. That had to do with a called quarterback lead. They simply use the tight end in the downhill action. They're going to do that a couple times a game because he's a big physical man to bring down. But they don't want to tempt Providence too much. Keep it to 8 or 9 times a game.
And the Panthers pretty good in the red zone as well. Second down and 6. Time running out in the first quarter. And Newton looking left, can't find anything, and he's going to be down. And that time it was James Laurinaitis who told us yesterday that the hits on Cam Newton early could be a factor in this game. And the second sack of the game on a loss of 13. And that will be the end of the first quarter. A defensive game, to say the least, with the Panthers leading the Rams 7-2. Start of the second quarter. Dick Stockton along with Brian Billick and Laura Oakman as the Panthers lead the Rams 7-2. And after the 13-yard loss to end the first quarter, it'll be third down and 19 for Cam Newton and the Panthers on the 31. Kenyon Barner in the game. Ted Ginn going in motion, flashing to the left and going left to Ted Ginn. And Ted Ginn trying to get away, and Ted Ginn finally is stopped short of the first down. is tackled at the 20-yard line, and it's William Hayes along with the starter Tremaine Johnson starting in place of the injured Cortland Finnegan at corner.
Yeah, they're chipping at one another here, and I like that call. That was a safe call that at the minimum was going to get you into better field goal position. Maybe the explosive Ted Ginn can explode out of it and convert on the first down. That's a good, safe call by offensive coordinator Mike Shula to secure at least the 3 points that would take them to 10 points.
So Graham Gano perfect on the year. And this will be a 37-yard attempt. And Gano's field goal is good. So less than a minute into the second quarter, Graham Gano's field goal giving the Panthers a 10-2 lead over the Rams. Well, after last night's thrilling victory over the Tigers, the Boston Red Sox will now face the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 1 of the Fall Classic live from Fenway Park. Coverage of Game 1 begins Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with a Fox Sports Live World Series special on Fox Sports 1. And then it's the first pitch at 7:30 Eastern only on Fox. Two teams with the best records in baseball will clash. And boy, do they find a way to win. Anyway, Tavon Austin back deep, and Graham Gano will kick off. 10-2 game, and deep into the end zone, and Austin will down it there for the touchback. And the Rams will take it on the 20. Sam Bradford and company when we return. Well, we have one of those rare matchups of Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks and #1 overall draft picks in this game.
Well, you're always pressure on the quarterback position, particularly if you're a first-round draft choice. But when you're the first overall pick, that takes that pressure to a whole nother level.
So Sam Bradford, who has completed 5 of 9 for 77 yards, and the interception returned for a touchdown by Captain Munnerlin on the first play from scrimmage, will go play action here, and the pass is caught by Corey Harkey, and the tight end, starting once again, gets it out to the 25-yard line. Once again, it was pressure. Captain Munnerlin all over the field, recovering a fumble, making an interception for a touchdown, and then putting pressure on the QB. That's why he's the captain.
Captain, my captain.
Second down and 4. 3 receivers, 2 to the left. And here's Zach Stacy. They haven't stopped him yet. Well, finally hit hard by Mike Mitchell, but not before a first down. And time for a game break. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, losers of 3 straight, maybe the winless Buccaneers are what the Atlanta Falcons need. Matt Ryan hooked it up with Jacquizz Rodgers, 14-yard touchdown. They lead it 14-0 early in the second quarter. Dick, Brian, and Laura.
All right, thank you very much.
Seems like any time a team needs to get healthy, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers show up. It's just what the doctor ordered.
Just what he ordered. 11-yard gain on that pass, and this one is caught by Tavon Austin. Touchdown Rams, and a flag is down back at the 30-yard line, and it appears to be a penalty against St. Louis.
Tripping, offense number 77. 10-yard penalty.
And that'll nullify a 63-yard touchdown pass to Austin. And tripping called against Jake Long, the veteran left tackle.
I want you to look over here on the left side of the offensive line. Jake Long, one of the best in the business. Boy, that was kind of an innocuous. Fell down, lifted the foot up. Boy, you just hate to see this. Tavon Austin has the kind of speed to generate those big plays we talked about, Dick, and they desperately need this out of this offense. Sam Bradford, we talked about being a first-round pick, the first overall pick. He's excellent in his interception ratio, but he hasn't generated a lot of big plays. This league is about big plays. That's one that got away from him and got called back.
What a move he put on Josh Thomas. So now first down and 20 instead of a touchdown for the Rams. Back on the 27, Darrell Richardson. And Richardson getting back to the original line of scrimmage at the 36, and Greg Hardy with the tackle.
You know, I always look at the touchdown to attempt and interception to attempt ratio, Dick. And Sam Bradford, as has been noted, is very good in terms of not turning the ball over. He's about a 1 in 47 throws as an interception. That's excellent. If your quarterback's in the low 30s, you're satisfied. But he's a 1 in 30 throw for touchdowns. That needs to be in the high teens, the low 20s. Sam Bradford needs to take more of those shots. One has been an interception, and one's been a penalty and called back.
And the pass thrown underneath. And short of the first down by about 3 yards. The tight end, Jared Cook, gets 8. And how much of that, Brian, is the play calling?
You know, it's fair question, Dick, because the hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in evaluating a quarterback is separating his play from what's going on around him. He's had multiple coordinators, doesn't have the most dynamic receiving corps. They give up a lot of sacks. So that's a fair question. But at the end of the day, before you give this guy the next contract, you've got to believe he is that guy in spite of the numbers.
3rd down and 2, and Tavon Austin just had a TD nullified because of a tripping penalty. Is back in the game. And here's Bradford, and Bradford will get the first down. Good hands, Lance Kendricks holding on and gets the first down. Let's check in with Laura.
You're talking about evaluating Sam Bradford. I talked to some players about that. One told me the biggest difference is the first 3 seasons with Sam, he was hearing footsteps. He was sacked 105 times in 3 years. So he wasn't able to go through his steps, his reads, because he was hearing the footsteps whether they were coming or not. He said biggest difference now, he trusts his protection, trusts his receivers where they're supposed to be. He's going through his steps and his reads. He has more confidence in himself and in us.
They're trying to come back from that early interception, and there's a fake pass and a handoff to Richardson. And Richardson is stopped for no gain by Mike Mitchell, the free safety. Loss of 1, actually. So let's take a look at Sam Bradford, and you look at the protection so far. Now, remember, this is by a season. It's 13 so far for the Rams after 6.
But he's getting sacked at a 1 in 13 or 1 in 15 attempt. That's way too low. You need to be in the high 20s. You'd like to be in the 30s. So there has been a lot of pressure on Sam Bradford. But at the end of the day, he's got to move beyond that. If he's comfortable in the pocket, as Laura said, that's a long way to getting those big plays down the field that they desperately need.
Tavon Austin, and he'll be 4 yards short of the first down as he's to the 45-yard lines of Carolina. So if they haven't had a really good running game to start the year, now they do, and he hasn't gotten much of protection. And we talk about play calling, then it's much more difficult to take those shots downfield.
Exactly right, and one goes with the other. The last 2 games, they've run for nearly 250 yards, which leads to the play action fakes, which leads to the big plays. They need to keep that going.
Zach Stacy back in. It'll be 3rd and 4 for the Rams. Caught, first down, and still on his feet was Chris Gibbons. And Chris Gibbons, one of the fleet receivers. Not all of them deep threats, obviously, as we've talked, and it'll be a first down at the 21 and a 24-yard gain. And he didn't go deep, but they got good yardage there.
In the simplest of a routes, just a quick, shallow drag underneath. Again, you talked about the speed of a Chris Gibbons to go with Tavon Austin. We talked about Carolina tends to be a little more passive in the secondary. They've gotten home with a couple 5- and 6-man rushes, but that puts a lot of pressure on a secondary that's beat up to play man coverage against the very fast Tavon Austin and Chris Gibbons.
Gibbons shaken up on the sideline now. Zach Stacy, who made a good block on that last completion, moves his way inside the 20 for 2. So there is Gibbons, who is on the sideline, and it's been Gibbons and Quick along with Tavon Austin as Jeff Fisher trying to open up this Ram attack we've been talking about. Rams looking for their 3rd straight win to put him above 500. 14 years at Tennessee. See a lot of similarities between that team that he had with the Titans and this one. 2nd down and 8. Quick pass and hit immediately is Lance Kendricks. And Kendricks will get to the 17. Short yardage there, just 3.
Again, Carolina bringing some uncharacteristic pressure. Nice job by Sam Bradford finding the release against that pressure. Typically with the tight ends, he's got a couple good ones. And Jared Cook, we've already seen in a couple situations. And Lance Kendrick, more of the move guy in this true tight end offense.
So it'll be 3rd down and 5. And Stedman Bailey, another rookie receiver from West Virginia. He was the 3rd pick, is in the game now. Ball at the 16 of the Panthers. And jumping off and see if he was drawn off. And it may be a defensive penalty here.
Offside. Defense number 95. Unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
So Charles Johnson jumping offside. So now it'll be 3rd and very short. For the Rams, they'll need basically a yard to get the 1st down.
Well, obviously, Charles Johnson thought he heard or saw something to get that jump. And now inside to turn a 3rd and 6 or 7 into a 3rd and very short. That's a huge penalty against Carolina.
And they go with Zach Stacy. He'll get the 1st down. Captain Munnerlyn coming up from the secondary, and a 3-yard gain for Stacy. It'll be 1st and goal at about the 8.
St. Louis has moved the ball, and it's been a nice combination of underneath passing game and the running game. They've taken a couple shots down the field, haven't converted on it, as we saw, because of the interception and the penalty. But they've got a nice balance going for them right now, and they've been very good in the red zone running the ball, if not getting the score in the running game.
But they sure have recovered from that earlier interception on the first play. And the handoff is to Stacy again. And maybe a yard on the play, knocked back by Luke Kuechly, the middle linebacker. Talk about yardage. The Rams have outgained the Panthers 181-40 thus far.
And this is an offensive line for the St. Louis Rams that is kind of built from the outside. Roger Saffold, back from injury, is the only draft choice by the Rams. Jake Long, Chris Williams, Scott Wells, Harvey Dahl all came from someplace else. We talked about all the resources they put into getting that defense. Well, you had to fill in with the offense, not with draft choices, but going to free agency.
Saffold switched from left to right tackle with the arrival of Jake Long. It'll be 2nd down and 9. And here is Bradford looking to the end zone, pulls it down, and down he goes. Colin Cole starting at defensive tackle, and that'll be the 1st sack of the game for the Panthers. And Bradford wasn't going to take a chance to throwing a pick here.
Well, the proverbial coverage sack, nothing down the field. They were playing a passive zone with not a lot of places to go. Get home, and here you can see even on the backside, Sam Bradford had to pull it down. And because of the good front 4 of the Carolina Panthers, in particular that inside rush from guys like Kawan Short and Colin Cole, that makes it very difficult on a quarterback when he has to step up and sees nothing but the Carolina blue.
Now 3rd and goal from the 10. And the whistle blows, and a timeout called by the Rams. That's the first timeout of this first half, and we'll be back in just a moment.
St. Louis Rams hoping to overcome these early miscues, and a tipped ball interception by Captain Munnerlyn, then a fumble by Tavon Austin. Again, the captain comes up with the turnover, and here Jake Long gets called for a tripping penalty that negated a huge touchdown play to Tavon Austin. But that's all for naught if indeed they can find a way to score again once in the red zone of the Carolina Panthers.
And of course the Panthers, who have gotten 2 turnovers, only 40 yards, yet they're leading by 8 points and looking for the stop on 3rd and goal from the 10.
Tavon Austin underneath, maybe a catch and running into the end zone would be the call.
Bradford looking left, throwing left, and let's see if he was out of the end zone. He was. Austin Pettis was out of the end zone, the official right there, and it'll be 4th and goal.
He had Tavon Austin underneath, but he decided to go for it all. Good timing, just a tad late. Needed just a little more real estate and a little more time. As I always used to tell my quarterbacks, no pass in the history of the NFL has ever been caught out of bounds.
You know, that was savvy for you to tell them that.
Gets the left foot down, just, couldn't quite drag that heel in there. Should get some style points for that at least.
Greg Zuerlein, 28-yarder. And the kick is good, so Zerline is perfect on the year, now 10 for 10. And the Rams get 10 out of it. And there was the play, Austin Pettis, but he was out of bounds. It's now 10-5. Hey, that's a baseball score. And back here on a beautiful day in the mid-60s, the Rams trailing 10-5, but the Panthers have not done anything offensively. Ted Ginn is back deep. Greg Zerline, who just connected on a 28-yard field goal, giving it the boot, and the Panthers will start at the 20-yard line. So let's see what Cam Newton does. He's perfect as a passer, only 4 for 49 yards. Very conservative.
Dick, this is right up your alley. Experienced the emotional journey of one of baseball's all-time greats. Thoroughly devastating injury on the final days of his remarkable career. Being Mariano premieres today following football on Fox with a special encore presentation Tuesday on Fox Sports 1.
You rehearsed it last night 20 times, and you did a perfect job. Great job.
Well, it takes me 20 times to get it right.
And you could, and you know what?
As long as you don't put a lot of words in there and names, Mariano I can get.
You can do as many as you want. Rams have run 31 plays. This is only the 13th for the Panthers. And the screen to D'Angelo Williams. Williams, with a head of steam, gets the first down. Still going. And pushed out of bounds. A big gain. And the biggest easily of the day for the Panthers at 19.
Again, nice job of a screen. You can see Jordan Gross working his way out in front of, along with on the right guard Chris Scott. We've seen a couple screens by both teams. The difference is Tavon Austin fumbled his. Williams did not. Great job of slowing down these front sevens of the respective teams with the screen game so far.
Just the fourth Carolina possession. One was one play, which was the safety. And there's the pass up the middle. Great catch there. And it's the tight end Greg Olsen. And Olsen diving for extra yards. So Olsen, who's had a foot injury, was limited in practice this week with a great catch and run 25 yards.
They separate him from the line up above. He's got the size advantage here. Great hands. Boy, he just snagged that one. And that had some RPMs on it from Cam Newton. Right now he's calling for a face mask, and I don't know that he shouldn't have got it as they were going for the ball. They clearly got a hold of the face mask. But that was a laser shot from Cam Newton. Give Greg Olsen credit for snagging that one.
So 44 yards on 2 plays and a first down at the 36 of the Rams. Here's D'Angelo Williams on the pitch, and he is tackled by James Laurinaitis for a gain of about 3.
I like the diversity of the play calling by Mike Shula. We talked about how athletic this defense is for the St. Louis Rams. So we've seen the inside power game. We've seen screens. We've seen pitches. We've seen vertical shots down the field. We've seen underneath shots and separating your tight end from the formation. Seeing a lot of different tactics by Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers.
Both teams averaging just under 6 yards per play. Now it's 2nd and 8. Mike Tolbert checks in at running back. And a timeout, and the Panthers with their first timeout of this first half. 3:21 to go in the second, and Kurt Menefee with a game break right here.
Hey, and maybe the catch of the day, at least for a touchdown so far, Tampa. Mike Glennon. Watch Vincent Jackson one-handed over Asante Samuel, takes it in for a 59-yard score, cuts the deficit in half. Atlanta just tacked on a field goal seconds ago. It's 17-7 now. Atlanta up by 10 over the winless Bucs. Dick, Brian, and Laura.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kurt. And I want to remind you, as you know, this November, some cops are born, others are made. Get ready for the next evolution of cop drama. Don't miss what the show critics are calling obsession-worthy. Almost Human premieres Monday, November 4th on Fox.
You want some help with those promos, Dick? After the game, we'll work on it a little bit. You've only been doing this for what, about 40 years?
Actually, I'm generous. Don't ask me tough questions. 2nd down and 8. You did a good job. I'm going to have you do another one. What do you think of that?
Okay, just make sure I read it ahead of time.
And here's Cam Newton, big enough to have defenders slide off of him, and still on his feet is Cam Newton, and going out of bounds with a terrific run and a first down That's what the size of the running quarterback can do, and Newton gets 13.
Well, this clearly was not one of those designed runs. He's looking down the field, decides it's not there. He feels the pressure. Look at the strength of this guy. He's every bit of the 6'5", 6'6", 240, yet athlete enough to step around those types of tackle. This is a dimension that very few teams have. He's not running the read option. He just is big, physical, making something out of nothing.
Drive started from the 20. D'Angelo Williams back in. First down and 10. And here is Williams. Nothing there. Robert Quinn, who has a sack and has been tremendous up front for the Rams, and a loss of 1.
Down in this red zone area, if you're going to be good in the red zone, Dick, at some point you've got to be able to run the ball. We talked about the Rams' ability to run the ball, all but throwing them in for their scores. And Carolina's the same way, particularly with a Cam Newton. This is what makes him so dynamic, particularly in the red zone. That added element of his ability to run the ball if need be. You pick up an extra offensive number when you have a Cam Newton. Normally he is a wasted guy. You're 10 on 11, meaning the quarterback is not a factor in the running game. But as you can see right here, Cam Newton is a threat anywhere on the field.
2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. We have not had any offensive touchdowns. It'll be 2nd down and 11 for the Panthers on the Rams 23. And Newton's pass incomplete, and it was intended for Steve Smith with Janoris Jenkins on the coverage.
Steve Smith trying to get Janoris Jenkins to jump deep with this back shoulder throw, pull up. Hadn't, just took his eye off the ball last second. Janoris Jenkins, doesn't look like he got a hand in there. Just kind of went through the arms of Steve Smith. That's a rare drop by the Pro Bowl receiver.
Unusual game. We've had a pick 6, a safety, a couple of field goals. Mike Tolbert now in at running back, and it'll be 3rd down and 11. Cam Newton with time. Pass is caught, and inside the 5-yard line, driving toward the guard line, Ted Ginn, and Ted Ginn did not see the touchdown signal. Stopped short of the goal line by maybe a foot.
See Ginn up here at the top, a little too passive by the St. Louis Rams. They back off, don't want to give up the touchdown throw. This is way too easy for a 3rd and long. And Ted Ginn fighting to get his way into the end zone. Looks like he's down before it crossed the goal line. Still, it puts Carolina on the 1-yard line with lots of time on the board.
So it's 1st and goal at the 1, and big chunks of yardage of 19 and 25 yards. This is the 8th play of the drive, and there is Tolbert going in for the touchdown. And with less than 2 minutes to go in the first half, we have our first offensive touchdown of the game. Mike Tolbert with his 3rd TD of the year.
Talked about the 1-2 punch of Williams and Tolbert. Tolbert, all 243 pounds. And I think they're being kind and listing him at 243. Just powering in. Good surge by the offensive line. Sticking the ball out there to make sure he crosses the plane. Guy came in out of free agency from San Diego a few years ago. Asked him to play more of a fullback role, and they throw him a bone by letting him score.
He and D'Angelo Williams, a great 1-2 punch. With Jonathan Stewart about ready to come back to practice. So here is Graham Gano, and he adds the extra point, and the Panthers lead it 17-5. Ted Ginn set it up. And right now, let's check in with Kurt Menefee to see what's coming up at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll see if Tom Brady can keep Boston in a celebratory mood as the Patriots take on the Jets. It's a battle of first-place teams as the Bengals visit the Lions, and the Jaguars will try to get that first win of the season. Plus, I'll go out and join those guys because I don't think I'm really supposed to be in here. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
Well, Kurt, you can whisper all you want, but we hear you as Sam Bradford gets ready to go back to work. That was an 8-play, 80-yard scoring drive that took 4 minutes and 20 seconds as the Panthers extend their lead, Brian.
And it will be interesting to see what St. Louis wants to do with Sam Bradford. They've got a minute. They've got 2 timeouts. How aggressive they want to be, maybe thinking about trying to get into field goal position. Again, getting the big plays down the field that you need to get in scoring position is not necessarily in St. Louis's wheelhouse. We're going to see what Jeff Fisher thinks of his quarterback depending upon where they get the ball here.
And knowing Jeff Fisher, I think on the road, he's got to be thinking touchdown if he can get to that point.
Absolutely, being conservative, and we've already seen them going for it on a 4th down. That shows the mentality here on the road, trying to get an all-important 3rd win in a row for this young St. Louis Rams team.
Tavon Austin will run it out from 5 yards in the end zone. Here's Tavon Austin. And a good return as he gets it to the 27-yard line. And now let's check in with Joel Klatt and a game break. Joel.
All right, thank you, Dick. We go to Washington. Cutler back to pass, looking for Alshon Jeffrey. Easy completion, but he drops it right into Brian Orakpo's hands. He goes in for the score. Pick 6. Washington up 17-10. Cutler has left the game, has not returned. Josh McCown in, Dick.
That's a desperate game for Washington, wouldn't you think?
It is, where they're sitting all but in the depleted NFC East. That would be a huge win for them. And Chicago needs to stay up with the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions.
First down from the 28. Bradford in trouble. And Charles Johnson. Tell you, that's a tough Panther defense. They can get the pass rush from their front 4. Loss of 7.
And this is just a 4-man rush, getting collapsed on the right side of the offensive line. Nice spin move. He comes to the outside and gets around the edge to get the sack. We wondered what Jeff Fisher would do with his quarterback, Sam Bradford. They tried to take a shot down the field. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Now, given the fact that we're at 33 seconds, they've got to be real careful about not forcing the ball down the field and possibly getting a turnover. This changes the equation.
We have an injury on the field. Jake Long, the former Dolphin left tackle, shaken up, and an official timeout.
Here on the left side and see exactly what happened to him. Again, just a 4-man rush. He's matched up on the inside, switches off the stun on the outside. Looks like friendly fire coming in from the backside. Boy, you hate to see that. Charles Johnson kind of folding into him. Certainly not intentional, but Jake Long, you hope that knee's okay.
So Long on the sideline, flexing that knee, and has been replaced by Joe Barksdale, who had started the last 4 games at right tackle, and he goes in at right tackle with Roger Saffold replacing Long at left tackle. 2nd down and 17 from the 21. Still 2 timeouts left for the Rams.
Now, we talked about what the intent is of the St. Louis Rams. If they spread this thing out to look like a throw, I would be surprised if it doesn't end up being a draw. You know, discretion being the better part of valor here. You don't want to turn the ball over because Carolina does have 2 timeouts left. So a turnover all but with 30 seconds would give them some time to get into scoring position, and right now the emotional swing clearly on the Panther side.
And Brian, the Panthers may be calling a timeout if nothing big happens here, in the feeling that maybe they can get the ball back for a field goal try before intermission.
Or at the very least force St. Louis into a punt, and maybe we get a block punt, maybe we get a return. You don't get any points for leaving the timeouts on the board, so why not use them?
Now the referee went over and talked first to Jeff Fisher and then to Ron Rivera. So I don't know whether there's a problem with the communication down on the sideline.
Jeff Fisher's on the competition committee, and there's no coach in the league, I promise you, that knows the rules better than Jeff Fisher.
And it could be the question of the timeout with the injury to Jake Long. But right now the Rams still have the 2 timeouts left. But the conference continues. There's Jake Long, who seems to be walking a little better. And, well, you talked about how the Panthers have to like you.
Well, you know, I don't want to take credit where credit's not due, but the times I've had them, they are, you know, 90-15 now. Could be coincidence. I don't know. I don't particularly want to believe in coincidence right now. We've got them later on. I think their Atlanta-Carolina game. So if that holds up, I do expect to check in the mail.
And you can get in the Hall of Fame with numbers like
Before the
that.
10-second runoff. Since it's a legitimate timeout, 77 can stay in the game.
So Jake Long is back in the game. And they charge the Rams with a timeout, so they have one remaining.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's an indicator. If I'm not mistaken, he said there would be a 10-second runoff. Did I hear him say that properly?
They have not run any time off. It still shows 33 seconds.
They decided to go with the timeout instead. They would have had the choice for the 10-second runoff or the timeout. I would be surprised not to see a draw or something here, something safe.
Yeah, the same situation in the Seattle-Arizona game on Thursday night, where a team took a timeout to avoid the runoff, and Zach Stacy knocked back for a loss by Latulele. And less than a half a minute now, and the clock stops. 24 seconds. And a timeout is called. Well, it's about much more than pink on the field. Together, the NFL and the American Cancer Society are helping women across the country make a crucial catch. Here are the personal impact stories, and find out how you can help finish the fight against breast cancer at NFL.com/pink.
And as you just pointed out, Dick, Carolina used that timeout. I believe it was Carolina that used the timeout.
Yes.
Because now at third down, they've still got one in their back pocket. If it doesn't go well here for the Rams, they can call timeout and force a punt. Not a lot of time left on the clock. A lot of bad things can happen when you go to punt. Get a return, get it blocked. I don't know how much time they'll have afterwards to take too many shots down the field, but at least give yourself a chance, and that's exactly what Ron Rivera is doing.
And they may be able to take it. Carolina gets it back. You know, one pass, get out of bounds, stop the clock, and try a long field goal for Gano. Third down and 19 from the Ram 19.
Imagine we'd see a run here again by St. Louis to gobble up the clock.
Exactly right. And Zach Stacy will charge, and the Panthers will call a timeout. That'll be their third and final timeout, and it'll be fourth down. Kicking situation coming up.
And here's the dilemma. Do you bring an all-out rush, trying to get the block? How confident are you in that punt rush of your team? Or do you go passive and let Ted Ginn, the very explosive Ted Ginn, maybe get you some yardage?
We won't ask Joel Klein about that, but we'll ask him for a game break, and here he is.
Well, thank you, Dick, and I do have an explosive player. Devin Hester, 81 yards. This punt return touchdown, 19th return TD of his career that ties Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders for the NFL record. That game tied at 17. Back to you, Dick.
Great to see a record breaker, and of course Ted Ginn could be in a situation like that. As the Bears tied for the division lead, as you mentioned. Johnny Hecker will be kicking, and Ted Ginn is back. He caught the big pass to set up the touchdown run by Tolbert for the only offensive touchdown of this first half so far. Good hang time there. Ginn will let it bounce. And the clock continues to run, and we're down now to 10 seconds as the ball is down at the 20.
They got a good roll in St. Louis. Now this puts Cam Newton in a situation with no timeouts, 10 seconds. Really, you got one shot, preferably on the outside, to get a big chunk of yardage, if for nothing else, to give you an opportunity to maybe throw up a Hail Mary. You've got to get to at least your 45-yard line or so to try to take a shot at the Hail Mary. Otherwise, you're just wasting a throw and wasting, a quarterback that'll throw up, and the last thing he wants to do is throw an interception at the end of the game. But given the time, it pretty much has to be a throw to the outside.
Remember, the Panthers won the toss and deferred, so they will get the ball to start the second half. From the 24 with 10 seconds to go in the first half. Here's Cam Newton, and he goes underneath. It's knocked away. Brandon LaFell, the intended receiver, and Rodney McLeod knocks it away now with 4 seconds on the clock.
Well, the only thing left to you now, again, it's way too far out for the hill. Even Cam Newton, maybe he could throw it that far, but I don't know if they could run down that far. this is where if you're going to try anything at all other than just hand the ball off and finish out the half, it's where you get a throw and a pitch back and a handoff. It looks like they're just going to take a knee and go into the locker room.
And the Carolina Panthers looking for their third in a row, leading 17-5 at the end of the first half. And right now we'll go to Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles for the Visa halftime, which starts now. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. Moments away from the third quarter, and the Panthers lead the Rams 17-5. And where is the offense in this game, and what's going to bring it out, Brian?
Yeah, the adjustments are clear cut. For St. Louis, you just need to keep the same balance. They've had a good balance, all but minus the big plays. And because of that, Carolina, don't get too aggressive here. You've gotten home with your four-man rush. I think you can be more passive in the secondary, make them go the length of the field to actually get a score. And conversely, St. Louis, they got to come up with a big play in order to change what's going on here in terms of the game.
So adjustments again.
Well, you got to keep balance. St. Louis, Carolina, no need to take a chance because you're getting home with the pressures you're bringing now. Don't give those one-on-one alignments to St. Louis, and St. Louis building off that. You got to get something down the field. Yeah, with Sam Bradford, this is what I'm talking about. You know, this is a dink and dunk offense right now, which is great. There's efficiency here. They are moving the ball down the field, but they haven't gotten that big play down the field, save the one big touchdown throw to Tavon Austin that got called back because of the tripping call. So they're going to need, you know, they run the risk of bleeding to death slowly here in Carolina. The way Carolina chews up the clock with the point differential right now, they've got to come up with a big play.
Chris Gibbons and Brian Quick have caught passes for 24 yards, and other than Stacy on the screen and running the rest of the way for 25, that's been the long gainers. And Carolina, which won the toss and deferred to start the game, will get the ball to start the third, and strutting his way in the end zone right now is Ted Ginn, always a threat. Greg Zuerlein will be kicking off. The Panthers playing their first home game in 4 weeks and leading by 12 and looking to get even on the season at 3-3. Ron Rivera's team, they've been slow starters ever since he became the head coach, and they were impressive in beating the Giants and certainly in beating the Vikings on the road last week. Rams want to keep it going for them. Ted Ginn from the end zone. Ted Ginn turning it on down the sideline. And right now, let's check in with Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Dick. Jeff Fisher called it an unusual game. I think we all agree with that. Said offensively, we've had opportunities. We just haven't taken advantage of them. Said the biggest thing defensively right now, hold them to 3 and out. We need to get the ball back, get the momentum. Ron Rivera said they're doing a great job pressuring the quarterback, jamming our receivers. We're hurting ourselves. We have to run more effectively. Negative plays killing us. It took us out of field goal range twice. Defensively, he said tackling is killing us. The running backs are hitting the hole hard. We have to wrap them up.
Good update, Laura. Thank you very much. The Panthers have run for 28 yards against a team that has allowed an NFL high 130 yards per game. And here is D'Angelo Williams. So obviously they worked on that during the week as Kendall Langford stops Williams in his tracks and loses 2 actually.
And based on what we just heard Laura say about Jeff Fisher, they're looking for one drive right now. They're looking for that 3 and out that she mentioned. And then, okay, now if we can just get one drive, that brings us back to a 1-score game possibly, or at least a more attainable objective in being on the road. Otherwise, I think St. Louis is going to have to take more chances, try to get a turnover to get back in this game.
Cam Newton is 7 of 9, 115 yards. Catch is made by Olsen, but tackled in his tracks by Trumaine Johnson for 6.
And for St. Louis, they put pretty good pressure on Cam Newton with just their front 4. They brought the linebackers a little bit. As we said, just like St. Louis, Carolina has not been a particularly explosive team. 2 years ago, they led the league in explosive plays with 90. Then last year, they were up to 74. This year, they're on rate to be under 50 plays of 20 yards or more. And they need also to get the big play back in their offense to augment a good balanced running attack that they've had thus far in the last 2 or 3 games.
Steve Smith to the right, stacked up behind the receiver. Cam Newton hand out race Alec Ogletree as a penalty marker goes down. Good speed by Ogletree is certainly developing as a rookie linebacker to be one of the best rookies defensively in the league. It'll go as a sack, the third of the game, and a loss of 5. Here's Bill Vinovich.
Holding. Defense number 22. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Tremaine Johnson holding.
And that is a killer for a defense that just got him off the field. You can see Johnson here at the bottom of your screen. It's late in the pitch count, so to speak. Brandon LaFell trying to work his way out of it. He gets a grab of arms and jersey. And now, obviously, it negates a good play by the pressure of the front 7 of the St. Louis Rams. A penalty like this on 3rd down to keep a drive alive on the road, that's lethal.
So right, Brian. It diffuses everything going, and we'll have a false start call against the Panthers.
False start. Offense number 67. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Ryan Khalil, the center. So a stuttered start to this 3rd quarter, but you're so right about that dead ball penalty where the Rams seemingly had it back. And in a game like this, where one play it looks like is going to be a key play when we're all said and done.
And this is what Ron Rivera talks about, finishing. That's been the tough thing for the Carolina Panthers with a lead during the course of the early season, not finishing.
So now at the 30, 1st and 15. Pass up the middle, and a terrific catch by Steve Smith in traffic. Almost had to grab the ball away from a defender. It gets 19 yards and a first down shy of midfield.
You're going to see at the bottom here, he just kind of has what we call a skinny post or leaning in, almost an in route. And boy, that thing came in. That was tight quarters for Cam Newton. That ball, not a lot of margin for error with Janoris Jenkins trailing the play. You get it out a little too far in front of you, then Jolon Dunbar could have picked it off. Steve Smith loves being an impact in this game. Has one drop in this game, an uncharacteristic drop, and now gets him a big first down as they approach midfield.
Been an impact guy for years with this team, and the handoff to Tolbert, and Tolbert scoots his way into Ram territory, 2 yards shy of the first down, getting 8 yards, and Eugene Sims prevented Tolbert from getting the first. How valuable has Tolbert emerged as a running back with this team?
You know, when they signed him from San Diego and they had D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, people wondered, well, why are you going to go out and get Tolbert? But obviously with the injuries to Stewart, and he's playing more of a fullback role. He does get the ball occasionally, obviously, but when they get both of them in the backfield like they have right here, they use him as a big fullback, and he's a rare fullback that can also beat you running the ball.
Williams is back in. It'll be 2nd down and 2 out of the shotgun. And here is Williams with the ball. He's not going to get there. Boy, the Rams really primed to stop the run today. And they really were ready for D'Angelo Williams, led by Ogletree, a loss of 1.
Sound like a broken record, the front 7 of the St. Louis Rams. But the penetration that now allows that second level of linebackers and DBs to come in. There is no place to go here. He just comes in trying to find even the smallest of seams and now turns it into a tougher 3rd down. Great job by the front 7 of the St. Louis Rams. Like we said, right now it may fall on them to come up with a turnover to make something happen.
And Robert Quinn and Cam Newton colliding, and an injury. We're back, and Cam Newton shaken up. Has to come out for one play. Derek Anderson is in at quarterback right now. And from the looks of things, it looks like Newton's going to get back in, but we'll see. 3rd down and 3 at the 44. And a penalty flag down as moving on the left side of the Ram line. Chris Long and Byron Bell in their area. Got to get away from those players, so only you are hurt, Bill Vinovich.
Well, the other officials, that may be a coup d'etat here. They've decided to get together and talk about something else behind Vinovich's back. They'll get him caught up with it and try to figure out what happened.
Never thought Laura Oakland would be a foreign correspondent, but maybe she will.
They're both pointing each way.
Encroachment. Defense.
Wow.
Left tackle. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
It is a first down for the Panthers.
The reason Derek Anderson's in the game, Cam Newton here is denied run to D'Angelo Williams. He just gets collapsed by the backside by Robert Quinn. Just kind of get nothing illegal or personal foul-wise here. He just kind of falls on Cam Newton. Cam Newton's fine, but he does have to stay out the one play.
Those are Newton's numbers as Anderson there, 1st and 10 on the 39 of the Rams. And D'Angelo Williams will be hit by Chris Long and a loss on the play. Great play by Long, fighting off the block if there were one, and Cam Newton is back into the game. As Anderson goes out, let's check in with Laura. Laura. I'll yell louder the next time. So it'll be 2nd down and 14 on the 43 after that loss. Tolbert has replaced D'Angelo Williams. D'Angelo Williams has gained no yards on 8 carries, but Newton back in the game. And Cam Newton's pass caught by Olsen, and Olsen will be about 4 or 5 yards shy of the first down, but it's time for a game break, and let's check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, thank you, Dick. And Tom Brady looking for Rob Gronkowski, but he doesn't find him. Antonio Allen, first pick of his career, 21-17, Jets coming back.
Meanwhile, we've had fisticuffs break out here at the 40-yard line. A long way from where the line of scrimmage was, and it hasn't ended. And in the middle of it is Steve Smith. Helmets are on the field, and they're still going at it. And 3 flags go up simultaneously. What triggered this, you wonder? And Chris Long coming off. Going to check out Jordan Gross, the left tackle, and Robert Quinn, the defensive end.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how they sort this out, because this started out with just 2 guys kind of pushing and shoving.
Gross and Quinn may have started this whole fracas.
Well, this is just kind of after the play, the push and the shoving should be done there, but now we got 4-on-1.
Personal foul. Defense number 91.
And then now it just continues to escalate.
His actions, he's been disqualified from the game.
Chris Long has been disqualified. Personal foul called against Long, and he has been tossed from the game.
And I don't know that we've seen the incident that's specific here, right here. Long's in the middle of it. What prompted his being ejected compared to anybody else? You can see they're trying to pull him off here. Darian Stewart in there trying to pull their best defensive lineman off. The damage has already been done. The frustration of having them in a 3rd and medium. I'm talking about St. Louis now with their backup quarterback in the game, jumping off sides, now leaving themselves vulnerable, now inside the 20-yard line. I think we might be seeing a little of the frustration of the St. Louis Rams, recognizing their situation, down 17-5 here in the 3rd quarter.
And one of the fans threw something out on the field, which is totally inexcusable, as Chris Long, being escorted off the field, has been disqualified. And it all started with Gross and Long. Steve Smith was also involved. Let's see the play before the fight with Long and now Steve Smith.
Yeah, they're jawing back and forth subtly right here, but you don't want to get into a war of words with Steve Smith, that old veteran right now. They're jawing at each other, obviously. Not that it led up to this specifically, but boy, there's a lot going on in here. Don't know why they were able to single out Chris Long, but they have.
Looked like Steve Smith triggered something in Long, whatever it was, so it's a first down on the 17, and here's D'Angelo Williams. And Williams straight ahead gets inside the 15 to the 13. Laura open, you're down there.
Well, I can tell you I'm on the Panthers sideline. What they're saying is Steve Smith was in the middle of it. No one knows what he said, but what they're saying is that Chris Long threw a punch, and that's what was seen, and that's what got him ejected. That's what the Panthers are saying.
A heated game here in the third quarter, and what has been an odd game indeed. It'll be 2nd and 6 on the 13 after Williams' 3-yard gain. Here's Cam Newton's pass. It's caught to the goal line. Not over the end zone is Steve Smith. Not into the end zone. But once again, the Panthers will have a 1st and goal at the 1.
This is the trust you have between quarterback and receivers. You can see at the top of the screen, Steve Smith on a simple slant. Cam Newton put it right on the break, directly out of the break, because you don't know what's inside. The receiver has to trust the quarterback to not lead him into danger. And Steve Smith not quite being able to break the plane, but putting the ball on the 1-inch line.
And Nate Chandler is checked in as an extra offensive lineman for the Panthers. Steve Smith now with 4 catches and 50 yards. And the Carolina Panthers challenging the calling on the field that Smith was down before he got into the end zone. First challenge of the game, and will return.
The ruling on the field is that he was down before getting into the end zone. Right there, if we stop it right there, clearly the knee is down and the ball has not crossed the line, or the touchdown, the goal line, excuse me. I've only been at this a little while, so it looks like that is going to hold.
Brian, why does a coach make a challenge on this when you're going to get the ball to one, even though you can't take for granted that
it is an absolute cluster up in the booth right now. You've got coaches looking at the film and go, oh, it's in, challenge it. No, I know that he's in. And then you throw it and you look up at the film and you go, wait a minute, his knee was down. What do you tell me? So you're a little bit of a victim to your circumstance.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Carolina is charged with their first timeout.
And now you have one less timeout in the second half when you need them. Now, again, it isn't a foregone conclusion, obviously, that you're going to score from 1 yard out.
Right, and you take the chance, but right there, I guarantee you, having been in this situation a million times, up in the booth, they're swearing on a stack of Bibles that he was in, right up to the point where they see he's not, and you know what? It's like the phones went dead. It's like AT&T needs to get in here, because I don't hear a word from anybody.
I didn't suggest that.
Who said it was good? And it goes quiet.
All right, so it'll be 1st and goal at the 1. And here is Tolbert. And Tolbert, no signal, does not get over. And Kendall Langford, the former Miami Dolphin.
And this always scared me, Dick, when I see my running back go over the top and shove the ball over the top to break the plane. Someone then knocks it out of his hands. Clearly, clearly didn't cross the plane. And this is why you think about challenging. We've already seen one goal line stand. You think it's a foregone conclusion you'll get in, but not always the case.
2nd and goal now. And here's Tolbert, gets hit first. And it was Laurinaitis that time. No gain, so it's 3rd and goal. And I guess if you're going to run the fullback right up the middle.
And a flag went thrown up here. Something's going on inside in the pile here. The temper's flaring from the fight we just had.
And Eugene Sims.
After the play was over, personal foul. Offense number 35. 15-yard penalty. Down counts. 3rd down.
How about that? Mike Tolbert called for a personal foul when you're at the 1 yard line and 3rd, and now you're going to move back some.
Just what we talked about. Why challenge it? Because a lot of things going to happen on the goal line. The second shot in there, good penetration. He clearly doesn't get in. Got no clue what happened to bring about the personal foul call.
You wonder if he collided with Travell Wharton, his left guard, at first to allow Laurinaitis to get in there. And apparently he did.
And now instead of on the 1 yard line, we're backed up on the 16 on a 3rd down.
So now it'll be 3rd down and goal at the 16. Tolbert remains in the game. Crazy turn of events throughout this contest. Thought it might calm down in the second half. Not the case. And here's Cam Newton. Newton will run it and will go out of bounds, bringing up 4th and goal. And the field goal team is going to come out. And that doesn't mean that you should have challenged, but as it turns out, the Panthers did not get the touchdown on 1st and goal.
And that goes to the point I kind of beat up the booth saying they were getting that down there. Sometimes, and I'll play out the other scenario, you don't get a clear look. You're asking, what'd you see? What'd you see? No one had a clear look. And sometimes as a coach, you know what? It's worth the risk to maybe I'm right, even though I don't know what happens, to throw the flag.
Gano already kicked a 37-yard field goal. This is from 31 yards out. And the field goal is good. The Panthers have more points, but they were looking for 7, not 3 here. And it is now 20-5 in favor of Carolina. Tolbert didn't make it on the first try and never did get in. Emotion on both sides, and for the Panthers, Steve Smith and Mike Tolbert at the forefront. Want to remind you, never be without football. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile. So Sam Bradford, who has completed 11 of 16, ready to bring the Rams offense out. Tavon Austin is back deep, and the Rams will start from the 20. A lot of emotion in this game. A lot of defensive plays. 20-5 the score. Rams with their first possession of the second half with 6:46 remaining in the third. It's been a sloppy offensive game for them. And they will start here at the 20-yard line. Zach Stacy. That was an 8-minute, 14-second drive that they got 3 out of. Play action on first down for Bradford. Bradford's pass, and it's caught in stride inside the 25 by Brian Quick. So Sam Bradford, and Brian's been talking about it all game. When is he going to take the big shot? He did, and a big block by Stacy to give him time.
And that's exactly the play they needed. When we showed the drive chart before, they've had 2 long drives with no points and a field goal. They need the big play to get back in this game. We've been saying it for a half now. This is just simple as a screwdriver. I'm going to go as deep and as fast as I can. Right now, you got to look up. And Josh Thomas is going, where is my free safety? I thought I was getting help over the top.
73-yard gain. That's the longest pass play of the season for the Rams. Zach Stacy fights his way inside the 5. And it'll be 2nd down and goal. So the Rams with 5 plays or 20 or more. That was a 3-yard gain that time by Stacy. Field goal and a safety is all the Rams have managed to score against the Panthers. Tavon Austin in motion. They fake the end around, and the pass to the 5 going in is Stacy for the touchdown. And the Rams finally score an offensive touchdown in the game.
Well, when you run the ball like the Rams do, just a little play fake here. They fake the reverse coming over the top by Brandon LaFell. That allows Stacy to sneak out uncovered for the touchdown.
And for Stacy, as he takes the ball off, his first NFL touchdown. So Quick in stride with a perfect pass from Bradford, and now Zerline can make it an 8-point game. And he does. 5:22 remaining in the third. 20-12. The Panthers lead the Rams. Brian Quick, 73 yards from Bradford. And then Stacy with the touchdown. Biggest play of the game for either team.
Well, Josh Thomas looked like he expected help over the top. You can see it right here. The safety's there, but he comes up to take the underneath route. And I got to believe that Josh Thomas thought he was going to get free safety help and did not.
3 plays, 80 yards in less than a minute and a half. So the 73-yarder to Quick, and then Stacy with the 4-yard play, and it's 20-12 as Zerline kicking to Ted Ginn, returning it from the goal line. And a good return by Ted Ginn right around the 25-yard line. Brandon McGee makes the tackle. Here is the touchdown. First NFL touchdown for Stacy. And it's an 8-point game once again. Panthers lead the Rams 20-12. First half it was defense. Second half maybe the players have been offensive.
Yeah, Cam Newton taking a shot in here to Steve Smith. He gets sacked from the back time hard. Had to come out of play. Got a fisticuffs going on. Get a player ejected in Chris Long. Steve Smith down to the 1-inch line. Tolbert can't quite get in. A penalty backs them up, and you have to get a Gano field goal.
Panthers from their 28 with 5:15 to go in the third. And Cam Newton completes the pass, and Brandon LaFell is wrestled down by Trumaine Johnson to prevent the first down, but he gets close to 9.
These are the kind of throws I want to see out of Cam Newton, because he's getting a little what we call free access or one-on-one on the outside, because the Rams are dropping the safeties down into the box to stop the run, to put pressure on Cam Newton. He's getting a fair amount of one-on-one shots on the outside that if they're going to continue to move down the field, he's going to have to take advantage of that.
12 for 14, 171 yards, and has been the leading rusher for Carolina with 19 yards. Here's Tolbert, and Tolbert runs for the first down. Very reliable is Mike Tolbert, and he gets to the 40. Picking up 4 yards, and D'Angelo Williams will check in. Williams has not gotten untracked in this game. He has carried 9 times for only 4 yards. His biggest gain has been 8, so the Rams have been really eyeing him successfully today.
A lot of runs for minus yardage is what that has led to.
From the 40, and there's the flip to D'Angelo Williams off the left side. His best run of the game on the pitch, and McLeod makes the tackle before a gain of 12. Joel Klatt with a game break. Joel.
All right, thank you, Dick. And we go to Washington, where Matt Forte with a pretty cutback. And he takes it 50 yards for the touchdown. Jay Cutler out with a growing left in the second quarter, but the Bears fighting back 24-24. Dick.
Matt Forte's been kind of quiet the last couple of weeks, Dick. You knew if Chicago was going to get back in it, particularly with Cutler out, it was probably going to be on the legs of Matt Forte.
Panthers in Ram territory. First down at the 48. Out of the shotgun, they fake the handoff to Tolbert, and the pass downfield. Flag is down, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Olsen. McLeod defending on the play. And the penalty marker down at the 35.
I think we're going to get a defensive holding.
Defense number 21. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first
It's
down.
on the cornerback, Janoris Jenkins. So it'll be an automatic first down.
And he's John with Steve Smith here. Never a good idea. Janoris Jenkins, just a two-man route. Right there. Got the hand all over him as he breaks, and then followed up with the other one. You get that blatant a shot. Particularly, there's only 2 guys out. The officials down the field got nothing to look at except the 2 guys in the route down the field. They're going to see that.
And just a reminder, if you joined us later, Chris Long was disqualified from the game during a fracas involving several players on both teams. He was the only one that was thrown out. First down, and here's Tolbert straight ahead inside the Ram 40 and picking up 4.
Well, we're seeing the full diversification of the Carolina offense right now. We've seen 2 and 3 tight ends bunched up. We've seen play fakes with 2 receivers down the field. We've seen it spread out with a dive option and a pitch, and that loosens them up on the inside. So now you just hand off the belly inside to the big back Tolbert, and you get positive yards.
Carolina didn't have much yardage in the first half, and yet they had the lead, and the Rams not having the ball much in the second half so far, and they have scored. Here is Brandon LaFell with a good cut upfield, and he'll get a first down to the 31, picking up 9 yards. And the Carolina Panthers leading by 8, trying to stretch their lead late in the third.
He fakes the inside play. They just gained yardage on quickly, and then throws out this one-step quick hitch to Brandon LaFell. That's like an extended handoff. We saw St. Louis try to do it with Tavon Austin. It's a great, punctures a hole in the defense. When you hit him inside, you hit him inside, they get all condensed, and you pop them for the quick outside one-step screen.
LaFell with 3 catches for 35 yards. Olsen in motion, first down. And D'Angelo Williams with the burst. Looks like he's picking up steam now, and the last 2 carries for him. One, of course, was on a pass. Laurinaitis making the tackle, but an 8-yard pickup with nearly a half a minute to go in the third.
You see St. Louis rush him from the outside, making a shot, going right for Cam Newton. Again, the diversity of what Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, is doing right here. Hit inside, hit outside, throw outside, go back inside and hand the ball off to Tolbert. Right now, he is stretching the St. Louis defense every way possible.
Ben Hartsock, the backup tight end, with a nifty block there. Second down and 2. And here is D'Angelo Williams, who will get the first down. 3-yard pickup. And on that play, we saw Brandon LaFell line up in the backfield.
Yeah, you can see here at the bottom, Janoris Jenkins and Steve Smith. This started a couple plays ago. Steve Smith, again, this is a guy is as competitive as gets. Janoris Jenkins, I would be telling him if I'm his coach, look, you are not going to win this battle. Just be quiet. Beat this guy at the line of scrimmage. Do not get involved in a war of words, because you'll lose.
And you saw the official come in and separate, but mostly look at Smith. And here's first down. And there's the pass caught by Steve Smith. Touchdown. And the Steve Smith show underway here. A 19-yard touchdown, pleasing Ron Rivera.
Well, St. Louis decided to bring some pressure, which left Steve Smith one-on-one with Janoris Jenkins, the guy he's been John with all day long. Sidestep, points back and says, yep, that's me. I'm the one that's been talking to you. Cam Newton, under a lot of pressure, had to put up a bit of a punt to get the ball to Steve Smith. But the fact that it was one-on-one, this is right in Steve Smith's wheelhouse.
Close to a taunt, perhaps. Luke, you be the judge.
It was quick. It was a quick.
Graham Gano with the extra point. And the kick is good. And Steve Smith now with 5 catches, including a touchdown. And with 19 seconds remaining in the third now, the Panthers coming back and answering the Ram touchdown with one of their own. It's 27-12.
Yeah, and here again, we keep coming back to it. Some guys are very good at it, some aren't. We see here at the bottom, Steve Smith, he's on the backside. They're a non-part of this play. But look at, he's going to die. You take a shot at me, I'll die. He's got him. He's got Janoris Jenkins thinking more about what he's going to say to Steve Smith than how he's going to cover him.
All right, Laura Oakland right here.
Brian, exactly what you're saying. It's in his wheelhouse. Cortland Finnegan was so upset he couldn't play today. He loves the back and forth John with him and Steve Smith. He was trying to help these young DBs out, explaining to them, Steve will talk all game. Do not get caught up in that, because what we just saw happen is what will happen.
All right, Laura, thank you very much. So Steve Smith makes it happen on many fronts as Cam Newton with the touchdown pass. And it's 27-12, an 8-play, 72-yard drive that took 5 minutes.
Steve Smith got into this last week against Minnesota. He told Laura Oakland after the game, see, they don't understand. I got old man strength versus gym strength. That old man strength showing up right now.
Tavon Austin. 19 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. And the Rams will start from the 20. Well, after last night's thrilling victory over the Tigers, the Boston Red Sox will now face the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 1 of the World Series, live from Fenway Park. Coverage of Game 1 will begin Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern with a Fox Sports Live World Series special on Fox Sports 1. And then it's the first pitch at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. Going in, it should be a gem.
I know he's pointing to there. I think he's trying to tell maybe a couple of St. Louis fans in here going, nah, that's not going to get it. We're going to break them in half right here. So he's not only jawing at the players, he's jawing at the crowd as well.
Zach Stacy, and the Panthers will knock him back for a loss of 1. Lotulelei, the rookie from Utah, the #1 draft pick, living up to his billing as the nose tackle on this team, and that will do it for the third quarter. Into the third quarter here with the score, the Panthers 27 and the Rams 12. The NFL on Fox will continue after a break from your local Fox station. And welcome back to Bank of America Stadium here in Charlotte. Dick Stockton along with Brian Billick and Laura Oakman. We start the fourth quarter, and the Rams will begin on their 18-yard line with the Panthers up 27-12. This is a big drive starting for the Rams. And here is Tavon Austin, and big also for the defense. And a big play made by Greg Hardy, and all of a sudden flags are down and tempers flare again. Short fuses today between these teams. Chris Long was ejected earlier in that third quarter.
Something's happening on the right side. Obviously, Tavon Austin gets taken down early, but then Harvey Dahl comes in here. He's the one that's chewing back and forth a little bit. Harvey Dahl, kind of a tough man in the NFL, coming out of Atlanta. Kind of his mantra.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 62. After this is a goal, down counts, third down.
It was that former Falcon, Harvey Dahl.
The play is over now. He's coming in and he says, I'm going to peel him off and protect my man, but that's frustration there. And this is where Ron Rivera, he talks about his team finishing. They scored. They now back them up. This is where Carolina has to learn to finish off a team, keep them under their thumb, not give in to the emotion that the other team is showing.
Where is the discipline here? Third down and 23. We haven't seen much of it. Zach Stacy just trying to get the Rams out of deep trouble, and another flag. 2 of them go down. And we're on the borderline of saying that these teams are out of control out here.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense number 83. After this is a goal, down counts, fourth down.
And there's Brian Quick arguing.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem right here. He's a non-part of this play. You can see he's blocking. The play's inside. He's going to turn his back. They're coming and pushing and shoving. Nothing egregious there. And then he reaches back and takes a swat at Mike Mitchell. This is the discipline you're talking. Right here, he turns around. Right there, it's that shot right there to face. Mike Mitchell doing a good job, basically taunting Brian Quick into a penalty that backs them up even more.
Well, the Panthers have been able to press the right buttons as far as the emotions of the Rams here, as Hecker punting from the end zone. And Ted Ginn will let it bounce. And it takes a Carolina bounce and goes out of bounds on the Ram 41, and another flag is down. Another penalty marker down.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 57. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. Carolina keeps the ball. First down.
It's on Jordan Singh, and the Panthers will have the ball in Ram territory. Well, this November, some cops are born, others are made. Get ready for the next evolution of cop drama. Don't miss what the show critics are calling obsession-worthy. Almost Human premieres Monday, November 4th on Fox. What a game. We had defensive dominance in the first half, no discipline in the second half of this game, mostly on the Rams' part. And in the second half, neither team has thrown an incompletion. You can say a lot of things about what's going on in the second half.
Yeah, this game's got a strange feel to it. We've seen a little bit of everything, not the least of which is the emotion that's bubbling up. We started this broadcast, Dick, talking about the importance of this game for both teams, and it's showing here.
Matt Giordano injured for the Rams.
This game's gotten very emotional, very chippy. These two coaches have had to talk to their teams because you got to know the officials are going to get this under control. They're going to throw a flag at the easiest of provocations, and both these coaches have to prepare their teams. Obviously, in this instance, Gibbons doesn't, or excuse me, Brian Quick hasn't bought into it right now. You can tell by the look on his face. He thought he was done wrong. It doesn't matter. It's still going to draw the flag.
Panthers are on their own 48-yard line after the penalty. Is D'Angelo Williams going on the outside will have the first down as he is pushed out of bounds by Trumaine Johnson, and a 12-yard pickup for D'Angelo Williams, who started cold, and he has 39 yards, and I think all of his positive yards have been in the second half.
You get a first down. You've gotten into the plus territory now. This is usually a shot you want to take that vertical. Shoot to the back of the end zone. It's an easy aiming point. I don't know if this formation lends itself to it, but if I'm Cam Newton, I'd love to play action fake and take a shot down the field.
Fell is to the right, and I don't know if this is a broken play, but there's the flip to D'Angelo Williams, who has to cover up on it. And he does. Loss on the play. Time for a game break. Here's Joel Klatt.
All right, thank you, Dick. Let's go to Atlanta, and the middle screen. Coach Billick has got to love that. Great design. Jacquizz Rodgers, the second TD of the game. The Falcons up 31-17. Dick.
Little breathing room now between those teams.
Yeah, I love those middle screens until the defensive lineman catches it and goes 90 yards the other way. Then I'm not as big a fan of it, but obviously a big play for Atlanta. Matt Ryan having to do it with a lot of missing parts.
Second down and 13 from the 43. Cam Newton take it off, and Cam Newton diving head first will be a couple of yards shy of the first down. Missing the tackle was Ogletree of the Rams, and they get 10 out of it.
Dick, this kind of hit, he steps up in the pocket. 3/4 of the quarterback in the league would have gone down with a hit like that. This guy's so big, so powerful. Cam Newton doing one of those 8 or 9 runs a game we talked about that so affects this offense.
This kind of slide forward reminds me of RG3 against the Lions when he went forward and then lost the ball. It was a fumble, and they said you got to learn to slide with your feet. Well, easier said than done. Third down and 3. And here is Tolbert, and Tolbert's not going to get there. And the officials coming in, and they have to separate Ginn as well as Trumaine Johnson. Official had to come in and separate the two. Well, let's take a breath. Game summary. Combined 11 penalties for both teams for 87 yards. Chris Long ejected in the third quarter. And on the first play from scrimmage, Captain Munnerlyn intercepted a Sam Bradford pass, went 45 yards for the score. So now on fourth down, Graham Gano will attempt a 50-yard field goal. Gano has kicked 2 so far today. And Graham Gano with a 50-yard field goal, his third of the game, now 9 for 9 for the season. And the Panthers have opened up a 30-12 lead. And we're back here in Carolina. We've had a lot of joy from Steve Smith, but he's delivered to the tune of 5 catches, 69 yards, and a touchdown reception. And Sam Bradford of 14 of 19, and a touchdown and an interception. That on the first play from scrimmage, 200 yards for him. Tavon Austin is back deep. Gano, who has 3 field goals, kicks this one off the wall. A chippy game, to say the least, here in the second half.
Of course, this was fracas that led to Chris Long being ejected, and then Steve Smith setting up Janoris Jenkins for the next play was a touchdown, and then once backed up the Rams, Harvey Dahl getting into it. And now, obviously, now you can see Brian Quick getting involved. So across the board, and both teams are participating in it, but right now, Carolina is getting the best of.
First down at the 20. for the Rams, who need a score badly. Here comes Munnerlyn in with the blitz. Is picked up, and Tavon Austin. Did he hold on? He did. Makes the catch against the corner blitz. Gets it out to the 44 for 24 yards.
They're going up no huddle, trying to get the ball off quick to stop any review. If indeed Ron Rivera wanted to look at it, he's not going to get it off in time. That's why they're running the quick play.
And the pass thrown underneath to Austin again, to the 49 of the Panthers. Kuechly on the tackle in the hurry up in progress. 7 yards on that play.
Yeah, down with a 3-score differential, 10 minutes. This is the only way St. Louis is going to get back into it.
2nd down and 3. Bradford throws the out, and it's caught. 1st down to the 37 to Austin Pettis, and that is Pettis' first catch of the game. A gain of 11, and the Rams picking up huge chunks of yardage quickly.
The clock, obviously the ally of the Carolina Panthers, but they don't want to get too passive here, make it too easy for St. Louis to move down the field.
And this pass caught by Pettis, 2nd in a row. Gain of about 6. Still plenty of time remaining, more than 10 minutes. There's Bradford's numbers from the first quarter, and then since has thrown only 1 incompletion. 2nd down and 4. And the pass batted down. And Panthers putting on pressure there. So 3rd down and 4. And again, is this 2-down territory for the Rams?
Yeah, it almost has to be with the 3-score difference under 10 minutes. We've already seen Jeff Fisher go for a 4th and 1 on the goal line. Don't know why they wouldn't try a 4th down here should they not convert it on 3rd down.
Third and 4 for Bradford. And the pass incomplete. It was intended for Brian Quick and Drayton Florence, former Detroit Lion, defending.
Up at the top of the screen with the pressure, it's 1-on-1. Drayton Florence going for the quick jam.
Number 29.
And hand fight all the way down. That last little push. Actually, they're calling for the hands to the face to start with, not the little push at the end. You could have called him either one. Drayton Florence coming with them in training camp, got cut with the injuries they had in the back end, back into the lineup now.
So they didn't need to go for it on 4th down. It'll be a 1st down as a result of the defensive hand to the face penalty. 1st down for the Rams. Now on the Panther 27.
Quick.
Down by 18, and here's Zach Stacy as they try to show run after a bunch of passes in a row, and he picks up 2.
Sam Bradford and St. Louis are comfortable with this high-paced offense. Remember, they started out the season in a lot of these 3-wide formations with Tavon Austin. They thought this is what they were going to be. They've evolved into a different offense, but now in clearly a 2-minute mentality, all but 9 minutes plus in the 4th quarter, they're comfortable doing this.
Huge drive, and on the slant, thrown behind Brian Quick. Not the best pass for Bradford to throw there, and it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Quarterbacks hate this slant route because they don't know what's in front of the receiver half the time when they throw it. So they tend to be a little safe, put it in behind, and now he's just laying up Brian Quick for a shot. Can't throw it any further inside because of the linebackers and the safeties possibly picking it off. Brian Quick wishes he'd have decided to do something else.
Quick started off the field and came back, so it's 3rd down and 7 from the 24.
Roger.
And Bradford's pass into the end zone and dropped by Brian Quick. Brian Quick, and a beautiful pass by Sam Bradford there, but Quick could not hold on. And it's 4th and 7, and they're going to opt for the field goal here.
Well, Melvin White trying to keep up with them. Got a little bit away with a little bit of a push there. So busy pushing off on Melvin White, he can't pull the ball in. This is part of the problem the Rams have had. A lot of it falls on Sam Bradford and about can he make the big play down the field. A lot of drops by the receiving corps of the St. Louis Rams.
Penalties and drops. And here's a 42-yard attempt by Zerline. And Zerline's kick is good. So the Rams get something out of it. Still have a way to go, down 30-15 with 9:09 to go. But boy, could they have used this catch.
All-important field goal by the St. Louis Rams, because this now brings it into a 30-15 game or a two-score game, all but with a two-point conversion in there. So obviously the Rams, time against them right here. This defense has got to be very, very aggressive against this Carolina offense once they take the field.
Zerline will be kicking off, and Ted Ginn is back. So it's 30-15. 9:09 remaining in the fourth. Zerline has kicked 2 field goals. Gano has clicked on 3. Panthers ball at the 20, and now for the promo, here is Mr. Miller.
An introduction, how about that? This November, some cops are born, others are made. Get ready for the next evolution of cop drama. Don't miss what the critics are calling obsession-worthy. Almost Human premieres Monday, November 4th on Fox.
Beautiful.
Spacing, little pause.
Beautiful.
Dramatic effect.
Beautiful. You've done this before.
I've done this before.
Actually, earlier in the game. Cam Newton's numbers, and he's rushed for 30 yards as well. 9:09 to go. Maybe too early just to run the ball and just use clock.
You can see this defense is all up in here trying to make something happen.
D'Angelo Williams picking up a couple. 2 yards on the play.
Well, St. Louis is going to bring the safeties down into the box every play. They're going to be moving around. It's not enough to just stop. You've got to make sure that you don't give up a first down. You got to get lots of bodies on the ball to try to strip. You've got to have a turnover here, because to think they're going to orchestrate 2 long scoring drives is a bit problematic.
Panthers have never trailed in this one. 2nd down and 8. Williams hit behind the line by Ogletree. And Joel Klatt has a game break for us. Take it away, Joel.
All right, thanks, Dick. We got a shootout going on in Washington. RG3 is going to go 45 yards. Heaves it up there. Aldrick Robinson. He's there on the backside. 38-31 Washington. Got a shootout with Jay Cutler ruled out with that groin.
What a wild game in Washington.
Put up what amounts to a punt, and you get a touchdown. Life's going your way when that happens.
3rd down and 9. Cam Newton gets it off to Greg Olsen. Olsen trying to get some running room, can't, and Darian Stewart puts him down. It'll be 4th down in a punting situation, and this time Nordman will come in to punt and will be kicking from about the 10.
Well, Jeff Fisher was excited about having Tavon Austin return kicks, both kickoffs and punts. We know how explosive this guy can be. He thought, particularly late in the game, with a little help from the wind, that he might do something to affect the outcome of the game, like a Devin Hester, who we've already seen return for a kickoff.
You know, Austin has caught 5 passes, but the 7.8 average, and that's not what he's been able to do. Is 6.6 coming into this game.
Yeah, just not getting the yardage per catch you need out of the #1 receiver.
Well, let's see what he does on the return of the punt here. Trying to turn the corner, and here's Tavon Austin with the kicker in front of him. And a good block that time by Ogletree. So the Rams getting the ball again, down by 15 with just under 7 on the clock in the 4th. Back here at Bank of America Stadium, and the Rams, you can expect them to play the hurry up again on this series. Last time they had to settle for a field goal after a drop pass in the end zone. They'll start from the 41. Stacy has gained 53 yards, and Austin has caught 5 passes, not for much yardage. And Bradford swings it out to Zach Stacy. And he is wrestled down by Latulele after a minimal gain. Panthers looking for their second win in a row and a chance to get back to 500 and to solidify their position in second place in the NFC South behind New Orleans. Second down and 8. Quick one. And that's caught by Jared Cook. He goes out of bounds and does stop the clock. We do have 6:26 to go, and he picks up 2 more.
Well, Carolina's shown a lot of different looks with their defensive front pressure, but most of it is bluffing, showing pressure and then backing off. Again, knowing that anything but a one-on-one big play down the field is going to be tough for the Rams to catch up.
So 3rd down and 6 here, and they put Stacy in the slot to the right as a receiver. And the quick one goes out to Stacy, and not much there, but we have a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 76, late hit, 15-yard
Greg
penalty,
Hardy roughing the
automatic first
passer.
down.
Big break for the Rams here.
Well, they brought Hardy and Captain Mutterlin off the backside, unblocked. The ball gets out just quick enough. He took that one extra step. That's tough for a defensive lineman. He thought he was clean, wasn't quite sure when the ball came out. That's a tough one to swallow for a defender.
So instead of 4th down, it'll be a 1st down for the Rams at the 37 of the Panthers, giving them new life here, trailing by 15 points. Darrell Richardson has come in, and to the right of Bradford. Bradford nothing left, taking off and throwing, and into a traffic. The pass is incomplete, intended for Austin Pettis. Threw it into traffic with a lot of Panther defenders there, Brian.
Yeah, I wasn't sure that Captain Mutherland didn't have a chance at an interception there. Gets flushed to the outside. Of course, this isn't necessarily Sam Bradford's game. Desperation, trying to force the Mutherland just gets a hand in there. I'm not sure he didn't affect it just enough to pull it out. Doesn't quite get there. Should have been a catch, but couldn't maintain through the process. Mutherland getting it stripped as the ball came down.
2nd and 10. Richardson now is in the slot to the right, going out as a receiver for Bradford. Bradford taking up and will go out of bounds, and chased there by Mike Mitchell. And an iffy play and an injured player. Bradford is down out of bounds. Now Mitchell pulled him down after Bradford was out of bounds, and now another Ram player is charging. Harvey Dahl comes off and charges into one of the Panther players. And Bradford in pain on his back on the sideline.
Well, there is no flag, and whether it was Bradford going down into the sideline, got caught up with some legs. So I don't want to conjecture what's bothering him right here, but he is clearly in pain. I'm surprised Harvey Dahl does not get ejected for coming back on the field under any circumstances.
Here's Mitchell.
Look at it's not an illegal pull down. He just kind of gets caught there, and
right.
That's not illegal. Nothing worthy of a penalty there. Mitchell just steps up. He's in the field of play, gives a last little shove. Nothing egregious here. Don't know what the injury looks like. He's grabbing a hamstring or whatever. Dahl obviously thought something more involved.
Personal foul. Offense number 62. 15-yard penalty. Down counts. 2nd down.
And there you see why.
The fact that he came back off the sideline to do that, I am surprised he was not ejected.
Kellen Clemens will come in for Bradford at quarterback.
Yeah, he's excited about making the play, but, you know, right now Dahl's taking exception to it. He's just walking away. No problem. Fine. No harm. No foul. I'm walking away. Then Dahl, I think, looks over. He's still jawing at him, but Dahl looks back and sees his quarterback in pain on the sideline. and that's when he came running onto the field.
And he's going to, this is tough. He's going to be helped off into the locker room, and I think you could title this game unsportsmanlike conduct. That's been the story of this game in the second half. And for Sam Bradford, he'll be carried off, and Kellen Clemens has come in at quarterback. It'll be 3rd down and 24 with under 5 minutes to go in the 4th. Clemens drills it, and the pass caught to the 40-yard line, and ball knocked loose. No signal given by the officials as to whether it was caught and then fumbled or an incomplete pass, and they're conversing on the left side right there. Jared Cook appeared to catch it.
Harvey Dahl's still at it. He's not getting over that last play. John with him down the field. Officials jumping in quick to let this not escalate.
Pulling on the field is an incomplete pass. 4th down.
Here you're going to see the pass down the field. And then as things progress, Harvey Dahl's down the field. He's John at it coming in here. He sees the what he thinks is a fumble. Obviously, he's just trying to play football right now. But then it continues to jaw to that. He's trying to show his frustration right there. Sam Bradford getting carted off.
That's tough. So it'll be 4th down.
Jeff Fisher, I believe, is challenging whether this was a catch or not.
Sam Bradford, and it was Mitchell, and who was going out of bounds, and it was Mitchell who chased him, but didn't think there was anything that was illegal from Mitchell there. But Bradford in pain on his back on the sideline for quite a while, and there's Clemens, his replacement.
Lewis has decided not to challenge a ruling on the field of a incomplete pass.
Well, Jeff Fisher had thrown the red flag, and somewhere between there and picking it up, in talking with the official, he has changed his mind. Was going to question whether Jared Cook had caught the ball or not. Clemens steps up, delivers a good shot to Jared Clemens. Starts to turn up. Boy, I'm not sure that wasn't a catch. And then here's the hit again. I can't say hit on Sam Bradford. Looks like he just kind of pulled up as he got into the sideline.
Kind of like stumbled. His legs got under him as he went out of bounds. So Johnny Hecker punting to Ted Ginn. This is the first time the Rams have ever played the Panthers here in Carolina. And this kick, not a good one, but will go out of bounds. And you think that these are division rivals that meet twice a year that have had a fevered pitch of emotion in their games. Not the case, but boy, today you'd never know it.
Well, it's simply because of what's on the line. We talked about it in the open of the show. How much was on the line for these two teams, both in divisions where they're chasing maybe the wild card as opposed to the division. And here's the missed opportunities. Tavon Austin, huge play. The missing big play out of the St. Louis offense. This gets called back because of tripping on Jake Long. And then here again on the outside, a short touchdown opportunity to Quick. Not able to convert it. Drops the ball, does Brian Quick. And then insult to injury, Bradford pulling up on the sideline with an injury.
Panthers ball on their own 24, leading 30-15. And he'll be in no hurry here. 4:30 to go. And a handoff to Mike Tolbert. And Tolbert brings it out to the 30, picking up 6.
Well, the Panthers have some opportunity here, Dick. Obviously, with the win here, they come back and they're on the road to Tampa Bay. Atlanta, 2 divisional games. Gets a little tougher at that point. San Francisco and New England, and a very good and improved Miami team. So Ron Rivera knows his work's cut out for him, even with the win today.
And for Carolina, it'll be their first 2 division games of the season. So they dip their foot into the NFC South and can make hay there. Remember, last year the Rams were 4-1-1. They had the best record in the NFC West. Forgotten. And looks like their winning streak could be at an end today as Mike Tolbert driving forward with a first down. Let's check in with Joel Klatt in a game break. From the
All right, thanks, Dick. Let's go to Philadelphia. And Tony Romo finds Terrence Williams for the 9-yard TD catch. That puts him up 17-3. Nick Foles left the game. Matt Barkley in for Philadelphia right now. Dick.
Well, we've had backup quarterbacks all over the place, including this game. Briefly for the Panthers, with Newton having to go out for a bit, and now Kellen Clemens with Bradford in the locker room. So first down and 10 at the 35, and they're going to run it to Mike Tolbert, who scored a touchdown today for Carolina, and he picks up a few. Well, Ron Rivera hasn't had the blessing of good starts in his 3 years, and hovering around 500 in his first 2 years.
Well, and the good finish that they've had the last couple of years, where typically you hope to build on that. I don't know that's going to be enough this time. That good finish that they hope to have, and this will certainly help. This game against, or last week against Minnesota, this week against St. Louis, it's got to end up in a playoff run.
By the way, the Rams calling their first timeout and taking a look at the Rams schedule. The next 2 games are at home, but they have a tough schedule indeed. In fact, it'll be kind of a reunion with Jeff Fisher and the Tennessee Titans. That game will be at home. And then they go to Indiana, Chicago, and the game that's after that is at San Francisco.
Yeah, this is a tough road for St. Louis, and obviously coming into this 3-3, they were hoping to get a 3-game winning streak going, but now they face the uphill battle coming out of this 3-4 in the schedule we just saw.
Second down and 7, and Tolbert. Maybe a yard. And you really have to watch after every play. These officials, Bill Vinovich there with his hat off, separating both Eugene Sims and Byron Bell, the right tackle.
Hey, just seeing on the right side here, and you know they're just trying to pound the ball away as Carolina. Finish this off. It's a little hit from behind. Bell comes in, kind of taking a shot. Was kind of a cheap shot in behind. Obviously, Sims taking offense to it, but you got to know that the way this game's gone, you're the one that's going to get caught with it with that second hit.
Rams call their second timeout. This has not been a pretty game, indeed, and not a game that you'd be proud of. The way it has gone, and frustration on the part of the Rams for sure. Well, next week we'll tell you about the Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader in just a few moments. It'll be 3rd down and 6 for the Panthers. Rams have only 1 timeout remaining.
Well, like I said, Dick, the officials have to jump in the middle of almost every play now because it's going to continue to accelerate. They got to get in there quick because it's going to linger as the ball gets spotted.
And the Rams indicating a false start should be called against the Panthers.
Offense number 77.
And they're right. Byron Bell.
Penalty. Still 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 11. Cam Newton today, 15 of 17. Pretty good percentage, 204 yards and a touchdown. And really, it's been a mistake-free game for Carolina.
And let's make no mistake, this Carolina football team has the chance of being very good. The front 7 we've talked about. The back end, the secondary has been very good given the injuries they've had. They've shown they can run the ball. They've shown they can throw the ball. They still lack a little bit of that explosiveness. We know what Cam Newton can do. This is a team, if they can develop a little bit of consistency, looks awfully darn good.
Here's Mike Tolbert. And that'll bring up 4th down. But you're absolutely right. I mean, as far as offense goes, they have the running game. And this thing isn't over yet as far as the tempers flaring all over the field. And what a surprise, Steve Smith in the middle of that one. Rams use their 3rd and last timeout. Next week, Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader. Tony Romo and the Cowboys battle Matt Stafford and the Lions. And then RG3 and the Redskins head to Denver to take on Peyton Manning and the Broncos in America's Game of the Week or other regional action. It all starts with the Fox NFL Kickoff Show at 11 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, followed by Fox NFL Sunday at noon Eastern.
How lucky are we, partner? Because Dallas looks like they may beat Philly. They're up 17-3, and Detroit and Cincinnati are tied. But we get to go in Detroit next week and see that good Dallas-Detroit line game.
That's going to speak volumes about both of these teams and what they can expect in the road ahead. And Detroit coming from behind with 2 minutes to go in the fourth to tie Cincinnati at 24. Right now, let's send it down to Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Dick. I have a quick report on Sam Bradford. You saw him being carted off. What you didn't see is him walking to the cart about 4 steps and 4 steps too many. A severe limp as he got into the cart. He is in the Rams locker room undergoing tests on his knee. They say they're looking to the extent of what it is right now.
All right, thanks for the follow-up, Laura. As Nortman punting to Austin, backpedaling to the 10. And will go out of bounds with 2:32 to go on the clock. Well, of course, we know the Rams were right in the middle of that major trade with the Redskins that resulted in Washington getting RG3. Here's the way it worked.
Well, when you look at this, is easy to see, just sheer numbers. This is a lot of bodies. Brockers is a starter for them. Janoris Jenkins, Ogletree, now Zach Stacy. These are all starters, but make no mistake, Les Stedman, Les Snead, excuse me, the general manager, and Jeff Fisher, the head coach of St. Louis, even though they didn't draft Sam Bradford, they now own Sam Bradford because they bypassed taking RG3 in the draft, got a bunch of players, but that's something that obviously you will keep an eye on in terms of how well does RG3 play, and is it worth passing up a quarterback the caliber of RG3 to get all those players, even though you believe in your quarterback Sam Bradford. And we'll see over the next year or so if that belief stems into an extension on a Sam Bradford who has shown great promise. We all like what we see in Sam Bradford, but his record on the field, the lack of the big plays down the field, can you wrap more pieces around him and go forward with Sam Bradford as your quarterback?
Jared Cook catches Kellen Clemens' pass. He loses the ball and covers up on the fumble. Mike Mitchell forced the fumble. And now we're down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remaining in this game here in Carolina. Injuries, tempers, defensive plays. 30-15 Panthers. We're not going to tell Jeff Fisher this, even though we see him on the screen. Teams starting 4-3 have a 50% chance of making the playoffs. You go 3-4, which is what the Rams are going to do, down to 20%. But don't tell Jeff.
Yeah, and it shows you. I mean, that's what you got to love about the National Football League. Only 16 games, every game carries such import.
Kellen Clemens downfield and overthrows Chris Gibbons. Well, the Rams made a splash with a 73-yard pass to Quick, and couldn't follow up on it. Brian couldn't get it done today on the road, trying to get their 3rd win in a row, and they'll go to 3-4.
But it wasn't for want of trying. I'll give them credit. We opened up in the open, Dick, and talked about how both these teams are last in the league in explosive plays, that had to be a priority to try to get big plays, particularly on the road. And they took their shots, but they were unable to convert on the one.
3rd down and 18. Rams are out of timeouts. Clemens completes to Darrell Richardson. And he'll stop the clock with 1:45. It's 4th down. Joel Klatt with a game break. What do you got, Joel?
All right, Dick, let's go to Washington. Of course, Cutler out. Well, Josh McCown has been just brilliant in this ball game. Finds Martellus Bennett, 7-yard score, 41-38. Chicago takes the lead under 4 minutes. Dick.
Another quarterback controversy. Yeah, hallelujah. Can't have enough of those, right?
I don't know about there, but I know what you mean. And there have been a lot of that with backup quarterbacks coming up and doing the job. So 4th down and 9. Clemens gets hit from behind, loses the ball. And let's see if the Panthers recover it. They do. Carolina. And it was Greg Hardy who forced the fumble. And that is the 3rd turnover committed by the Rams today as Kawan Short recovered for Carolina.
Just coming off this right side, chases him down. Quick release over the outstretched hands of Jake Long. Quarterback had no idea he was bearing down on him. Look at that long reach. That's a defensive lineman's dream, that he sees that ball come up, knows he's going to get in there and just reach up and knock it out.
So the Panthers headed for the victory. And coming into this game, it averaged just under 14 points allowed. Second best defense in the league, and allowing 15 in this game. It'll be a first down on the 23 of the Rams, who have no timeouts left, can't stop the clock, and they're just going to run it out. Let's check in with Laura.
We've talked so much this game about the chippiness. The question everyone's going to ask afterwards when they go into the locker rooms is what happened. I'm already hearing it so much around the field, Dick. Over on the Rams sideline, what they're saying is the chippiness started right after that Robert Quinn hit on Cam Newton, and said it was right after the Panthers went in for the retaliation, and that's when everything escalated from there.
All right, Laura, thank you very much.
But that's when, as a coach, you tell your players, I really don't care how it started. I don't, as long as we finish it.
Well, stay tuned following the game for the State Farm postgame show. It pays to double check. And fourth down. And Hecker is in to punt it away. Well, this game got out of control, pure and simple today here in Carolina. And for the Panthers, they'll take the final score and win and go to 3-3. And a big win for them, for a team that has struggled at home in the Ron Rivera regime. 7-11, but they win this one. And we'll go to 3-3, and it's been 4 years since the Panthers have won consecutive games in September or October, and they win this one 30-15.